Marquez has not been charged with any crime, but his connection to the shooters is critical to investigators. Joining us now to talk more about it is our legal analyst, Steve Meister. Good morning so much, Steve. Thanks for coming to talk with us this morning. A lot of questions still going on with this. Now, what would you say investigators are really trying to learn right now from Enrique Marquez?
They are looking to learn anything that he knew about the plot, about the shooters, and who else is involved, how deep this goes, how they want to try to get the full scope of what was going on.
And I would imagine that when you talk to somebody like this, do you kind of have to give and take, like, well, maybe you won't face as tough of charges if you tell us more? You know, do they do that kind of song and dance, do you suppose?
I hope not, because nothing he says will be admissible if he were promised anything or if he were threatened. So what they did was they spoke with him when he was in the hospital, and they've been speaking with him ever since, and he's been out of custody this whole time, so they've never had to Mirandize him.
Okay.
He was being interrogated, but because he wasn't in custody, Miranda wasn't triggered, so really he will speak to them for as long as he wants.
Wow. Well, I mean, could he actually face charges, and if so, what kind?
Yeah, he could face charges. In state court, San Bernardino County Superior Court, he could face multiple murder charges and conspiracy to commit murder. He wasn't the shooter, but they would look to him as a member of a conspiracy, the surviving member of the conspiracy, who did enough to help the plan move forward that he is liable for the actions of all his co-conspirators. That means he's liable for 14 murders and 17 attempted murders and a shootout with police and everything else that the two dead suspects did.
But he could say that he didn't know that they were, you know, maybe he bought the guns, but he didn't know that they were going to use the guns in this way. And really, it's his word against two people that are dead.
Well, it's his word against a lot of circumstantial evidence.
Okay.
And the other thing that he could face is a federal charge of material support of terror. And buying the guns would be the biggest indication that he was supporting this act. Now, it all depends on what he knew this was to be used for, or what generally everybody was plotting. But there are strong indications now that we know there was a plot, and there are strong indications that he had awareness of it and participated in advancing it.
Okay, what about the shooter's family? Could they face charges?
Not unless they were aware of the plot and did something to either advance or conceal it. There's no legal obligation to be a good Samaritan. There's a moral obligation, of course, which may or may not have been shirked depending on what they knew. But the shooter's family would not be criminally liable unless they were aware of the plan and unless they did something to keep it secret or move it forward.
And, you know, we have reported, of course, that in the garage there were a lot of pipe bombs. So if someone saw all of these pipe bombs, wouldn't they kind of face a little something too if they saw all of that?
I think it would certainly be investigated and deservedly so. But the criminal liability for either the federal material support charge or a state conspiracy charge is hard to prove when someone had tangential or tenuous knowledge of something or a passing observation of something and either made no inquiry or was not given any further information about it.
Okay, Steve Meister, thanks so much for the insight. We certainly appreciate you waking up early with us this morning.
My pleasure.
And we want to mention also that the United Way has set up a fund to help out the victims of the San Bernardino shooting. You can donate by texting SB United to 71777. You can also send a check to Arrowhead United Way.